All right, we're live. So, as I was telling you before the call, and I wanted to hit record, we had a $10,000 sale today, which is fun. It's fun to make $10,000 sales. Like, no question, it's fun to make that. But it was interesting, right? And I think this is what sets people apart. And I just wanted to hit record and say this is like it took effort. The person didn't come to our site and just hit, "I'll take 8 of these, please. I'm ready to order now." Like they were like, "Hey, man, I'm working on a remediation product. I need these things here by Friday morning." So that took us, okay, let's see if we can pull this off. Calling the supplier, "Hey, can you do this?" Supplier's like, "Oh, you don't want to pay that kind of shipping." Us going back to him, the guy going, "I don't fucking care about shipping. Get me these products by Friday morning." Us going back to them. And it was a lot of back and forth, just trying to make sure that this is actually going to be there. Is this guy real, right? Doing a little looking up to make sure this guy's not full of shit. Then as soon as we sent the invoice, he placed the order. Then we put in his address wrong. So we had to go to Clear Sale and be like, "Come on, Clear Sale. I need this done today. We got to get this order out. It needs to be overnighted." But that's the kind of effort it takes, right? And so like, I think that's what truly sets people apart is the people who throw up a website and just like wait for sales to come in, wait for the world to come rescue them. It's very much like a victim mentality versus, "Hey, I'm going to be available. I'm going to make shit happen. I'm going to do whatever I can." I think, I don't know if this has been released yet, but I think Holly Tuckwiller, she's going to come on and talk about this at our live event in Salt Lake City of what does it take to like be a badass when it comes to sales and like solve problems and like get in front of stuff. Like she's come to me with like, "Hey, look at this situation that happened. I won't say it for her, but it had to do with a wedding, and she solved the whole problem and made sure it was all taken care of for this young lady and her wedding." And that's what it takes to make these big sales is like, answer your phone first off, and then like also get out there and solve problems. So anyway, I just want to hit record and share that, John. $10,000 sales are fun.
Yeah, and we did an episode not long ago. I don't remember what episode it was. I should probably know that off the top of my head if I'm going to reference it. But like we talked about, is dropshipping too competitive in 2024? It was episode 299. So you can go back and listen to that. But this is one of the reasons why dropshipping is still not too competitive in most niches. It's because the people who, like, a lot of people come to dropshipping with that mentality that I'm not gonna do anything. I just want to throw up a website and make sales, and they all fail. Well, they don't fail. They end up quitting because they don't make any sales. So that's why it's still not too competitive, because the people who are really prepared to do the work and as you say, be available, answer the phone, be like Holly and others of our successful students who do the same thing, they're the ones that win. And I think those people are not as common as you might think. Like if you're that throw up a website and hope that it works person, and you're up against Holly, for example, you're just not going to win. It doesn't even matter how good your website is or how good your ads are or how good your, even how good your SEO is. Like the reality is when a customer gets on the phone with her business, she's going to close them. You're not even going to get a chance, right? And a high enough proportion of that market needs that assistance. So you literally can't win unless you're doing the same. But yeah, that's a cool story, man. $10,000 sales are fun.
I know people are wondering, what did you make on the $10,000 sale, right? So here's what I think I've seen happen a lot in our industry is that guy calls, he says, "Hey, by the way, I'm not calling just you. How can we make this happen?" People say, "Well, all right, I've got 30% margin. I've got $3,000 to work with. I'll give you 20% off," just, you know what I mean? Or whatever it is. They'll do everything they can and not make any money on this just to make that sale. Where we said, "Yeah, we'll see if we can make this happen. It's going to cost you $2,000 to get that shipped to you overnight. You're going to have to pay that." And he was like, "Cool. Any help you can give me on the products?" We ended up giving, I think, 5.5% or 6% off the products. So net margin was like $2,500, if I'm doing my math right, on $10,000. And I'll take that all day long. You know what I mean? Like $2,500 for 5-6 phone calls. And again, it's my team member doing that. I don't want to take credit for something I'm not. It's the team member making those phone calls, right? And 5-6, like that's good money. It's one sale, and like this is why we like high tech dropshipping. So I just wanted to throw that out there. But today's topic is, what should you name your business, John? We've kind of touched on this in the past, ranted on it a few times here and there. But I think a lot of people get stuck in going back to what we've been talking about, this niche selection stuff. If you have shut up Bill, road barricades direct.com, and then you find out, oh, this market isn't exactly what I thought it was. It's very hard to pivot to somewhere else when you've named your business road barricades direct.com. And so how do you think about naming your business? And is there any like tools you use to like come up with unique ideas?
Oh, look, I mean, I would definitely use. I mean, there's always been online little online tools like Business Name Generator and things like that. They've been around
Yep.
for many years. Now, of course, we live in the world of your Chat GPTs and Claude and Gemini and all of these AI tools, which will certainly, if you prompt them to, give them a bit of a description of what your business is going to be, what you're going to sell, who you're going to sell to. Can you give me a list of 100 potential names for this business? They're probably going to do it, right? And most of them are going to be trash. But some of them might be good. So I would probably be playing around with that as well. But like from a conceptual perspective, well, the first thing I want to say is that, is what we're talking about a major success factor for your business? Like, it's not. Like, really. Yes, you should think about it and you should come up with something that is good. But at the end of the day, like, is this going to be a primary driver for why somebody buys from you? It's not, okay? Like, I mean, if you think of some of the business names of the most successful companies and what they actually sell, there is largely no connection in the modern day between those things. Like iPhones, one of the best-selling products of all time is sold by a company called Apple. That doesn't make any sense. Unless you know the backstory of the company, it doesn't make any sense. Why would a company that sells phones be called Apple? That's fucking stupid, right? All right, well, it's one of the most valuable companies in the world, so clearly it doesn't matter. But, I mean, I think where, to me, it becomes particularly important is, and Apple is a good example of this, is like brand recall is important, right? And because what a lot of people in the dropshipping space do is they call themselves barricadedirect.com, and then the next person calls them barricadewarehouse.com, and then the next person who tries calls themselves barricadesonline.com, and they probably all look fairly similar, and they've probably all got similar suppliers. Like, how the fuck does the customer remember which one's which? Like, seriously, that's a real thing, right? And because every other guru out there is teaching you to just go and sell like a single product type store, you're probably going to think to come up with a name like that, right?
Yeah.
But one
of my favorites was, thrown this way back to any OGs listening, buy massagetables.com. If you remember that and you remember Johnny, that was one of my, just like the names that people used back in the day. I was a victim too. I had the 3dprinterguy.com like that. Maybe that's a little more memorable than Depot or Direct or Surplus or any of the warehouse, you know what I mean? That people appendage on the end. But I think it's hard to be unique.
Well, once upon a time, keywords in your root domain was like an SEO thing.
Yeah, and it still is to an extent. You can get more links that way, but it's not like if you get buy massagetables.com, you're going to show up number one when anyone wants to buy massage tables.
Once upon a time, though, that was the case. In the deep, dark past now, right? And it is the deep, dark past now.
Yeah.
That hasn't been the case for a long time. But the things I think about, so I think about is my name going to be unique in my market so that people, and is it easy to recall? Right? So because down the track as your business grows, one of the best ways you're going to grow, particularly if you're in a passion-based niche, is word of mouth. Right? So when customers are going to be out there using their product and they're going to talk to their friends, they're going to talk to their buddies about, you're selling surfboards to people who surf, they're going to talk to their buddies, they're going to have their surfboards, and where'd you get it from? You want somebody to be able to recall the name of your business very easily. So if it's a long, complicated name, that's going to be hard to do. It's not going to stick. So you want, something that's unique, but also shorter. I think about the name more in terms of the of the customer. Once again, like the way we think about niche selection, where we put the customer is first and their interest, the problems they're trying to solve, the thing that they do with the products. I want to name my business more in that way rather than naming it after the products, naming it more after the activity. So once again, if I was starting a business, I'm going to sell surfboards. I'm not going to call it like the Surfboard Warehouse. I'm going to go back up a bit, but I'm going to have a name that relates to surfing, right? Which will make it easier for me to sell a range of products that might appeal to somebody who is a surfer, right? And I mean, this is a smaller thing, I think, but I think it's still nice to do. But also, and then the third thing I think of, which I didn't think of at all when I first started out because it was just too big a thing to think of, but I would be thinking about, what is this brand? Would this brand go well on a product? You may or may not do this. You know, at some point with a high ticket dropshipping store, you're going to have the opportunity to put a brand on a product that is your own, right? Whether it's developing your own product, whether it's private labeling, you know, there's different avenues to doing that. But you're going to have that opportunity at some point if you want to take it. Now, some people will come up with another brand name for that and keep their dropshipping business under whatever name it's under. But you might also want to be able to put your website brand name on that product. And I've seen people do that as well, and that works. And so if you're like called the Surfboard Warehouse, that's a shit name to put on a product. Like that's not cool. Like nobody's going to go, oh yeah, the Surfboard Warehouse surfboard. It doesn't sound good, right? You want a different brand name for that. And so I think I have that in the back of my mind as well, a little bit with this brand and the branding that might go along with it. Would that actually be a cool brand? Like, so be creative with it. Be a bit creative. You know, if your industry or your niche or the activity that you serve or whatever has a specific kind of slang or lingo, some like that the customers use commonly, that can be a good direction to think in, because it's going to stand out to them. It's going to be easy for them to recall. But I think those are the main things that I think about when I'm coming up with a name for a business.
I like the slang angle, and I think that's the way to go. And then I like to use a tool like Lean Domain Search. So if you can come up with a creative word in your industry that you know is memorable, go throw that in Lean Domain Search. So rather than be, road barricade direct.com, I don't even know, it's a cute slang thing there, but can you be the cute slang thing .com or cute slang thing, even if you use that word versus like, you know, look, I'm a victim of this. I had pelletgrillpros.com, right? And so like, can you instead of being Pellet Grill Pros, could you be something around like something involving smoke and smoked meats, or some slang around smoked meats warehouse or pros, instead of being Pellet Grill? You know what I mean? Like I bought into the direct domain name thing. And so I actually think this is pretty hard. We're probably doing a terrible job of like telling you how to do this. We're probably better at telling you what not to do than telling you what to do. And in the world we're in, where it's like, you just need to be memorable. We're just all trading attention. I think Gary Vee's new book is on this, Day Trading Attention. Like, how do you get attention and be memorable? So when you make a sale and they're like, holy shit, look at that fire pit in your backyard. Where'd you get this? And they go, fire pit warehouse. I don't remember which one. You know what I mean? Like, you need to be memorable of some way, shape, or form. And feeltheheat.com or something like that. Like, is there a way for you to be more memorable? Something that's going to stick in someone's head.
I think a good example of this, like, is one of our stores, right? Backyard Bloke here in Australia. That's a good example, I think. Like, you know, what does that sell? Things sells all sorts of stuff, right? Sells a range of different things. Has arcade machines, has this, that, and the other. And you know, you totally could have called it like something, you know, boring, like, you know, backyard something direct, or backyard this or that. We call it Backyard Bloke. Bloke is Australian slang for man. So if I say to you Backyard Bloke and you're an Australian, immediately you will visualize the customer for that business. Like, you know who that dude is. Middle-aged man, bit of a bogan, but got some money, you know, spends money in his back. Like, I can see that person. It's probably me. It's probably me. I can see that person in my mind straight away. And it's slang. It's got a bit of slang in there. So it's memorable because of that. And this space, like, there's a couple of other good ones in the kind of serve the same customer that are cool. Like, one of the competitors of that site, it's called A Man in His Cave, right? Like, I think that's probably a bit long, but it's got nothing to do with the products, right? It's not about the product. It's about the niche. It's about the customer, right? And so it stands out. Like, you can remember that. And that's a site that does very well, by the way, and has been in the market for quite some time. But like, you sell like we sell things like kegerators and stuff. I didn't call it like kegerators online or arcade machines direct or something crap like that. And like, those names are crap. You know, we had a bit more fun with it. Like, get creative, be a bit more fun. and people will remember that and appreciate it. And then because as well, when you have that kind of fun, you can tie other things into it. So like just small things sometimes, like, we call that business Backyard Bloke. The phone message when you call the phone line, if nobody answers, it's me. But I put on like my best kind of ochre accent. You don't know what that means, but
yeah, let's hear it, John.
And I'm like, "G'day, you've reached the Backyard Bloke," and so my voice sounds like what you imagine when you hear Backyard Bloke, and people laugh when they hear that. Like you can hear them on the message, kind of, like they're laughing. And they'll say things like "G'day, Backyard Bloke," like blah 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 blah. Like, and so it's a good experience, and that stands out. Even if you think it's a little bit cringe, which I'm sure some people do think that's a little bit cringe, that's fine. Sure. If you do something that some people hate, you're on the right track, right? Without being offensive, of course, and all that sort of thing, and being a total dick, but you're on the right track. And so, I think when you go those more creative names, you can you have more opportunities to be memorable. And I think that's a underappreciated thing in a world where you're going to be selling the same products as somebody else, right? You're a reseller. Your products aren't your selling point, right? These things stack up. These little things that you can do, they all stack up to being like where the person's like, who am I going to buy from? Like subconsciously they're thinking, yeah, that Backyard Bloke, that website was a little bit cooler than arcademachinesdirect.com.au, or no, that's not a real site, but if there was one, and you were comparing the two, a lot of people are going to go for the one that they just thought was cooler or funnier or just related to them more, whatever it is.
Thanks for listening to the Dropship Podcast. You can find all the show notes for this episode at dropshippodcast.com. And if you're ready to take the next step in your dropshipping journey, we invite you to join us inside Dropship Breakthru, where John and I will walk you through step by step in starting your own high-ticket dropshipping e-commerce business. But that's not all. Dropship Breakthru will also teach you everything you'll need to know to grow your business and take it to the next level. So head over to dropshipbreakthru.com and sign up for our free training that will help you take the first steps towards building and growing your own profitable high-ticket dropshipping business.